A preacher rode alone through the mountains of Wales, and his heart was cold. He had preached for years, but the fire had gone out of him. Somewhere on the lonely road between Dolgellau and Machynlleth, he could not carry it any longer. He climbed down off his pony and went up the mountainside and wanted to be alone with God. And there, with no one watching but heaven, he began to weep. Welcome to Lift Up Your Day, short stories with a biblical heartbeat. I'm Rodney Coe, and today a preacher whose heart had grown cold. He climbs a mountain and comes back down on fire. His name was Christmas Evans. He was born on Christmas Day in 1766 in a poor corner of Wales, and they named him for the day. His father died when he was 9, and the boy was handed to a hard uncle and put to work. Life had given him almost nothing anyone would call a head start. He had almost no schooling. At 17, he could still not read a single word. After he came to Christ, a hunger for the word taught him his letters, and he began to preach. He paid a price for it. One night, a band of his old companions waylaid him in the dark and beat him, and one of them struck him across the eye, and he lost that eye for the rest of his life. Years later, when a man sneered that this Welsh preacher had only one eye, the great Robert Hall answered, "Yes, but that's a piercer, an eye that could light an army through a wilderness on a dark night." But the fire I told you about had grown dim. Christmas Evans knew it. So on that mountain road that night, he wrestled in prayer for hours until the coldness broke and the love of God came flooding back over him. He poured out his soul until his face was wet and the ground around him felt like holy ground. Right there, he wrote a covenant with God, and he signed his name to every line of it. He gave himself away again, his soul and his service, to the Redeemer who had bought him. He came down off that mountain a different man. Revival broke out under his preaching and spread across the island of Anglesey and then across Wales. Hardened men wept under the word, and crowds gathered on the hillsides to hear him. The one-eyed preacher had met God on a lonely road, and the whole nation felt the warmth of it. Maybe you know the cold he felt. It can settle in on anyone who has walked with God for a while. You still show up. You still go through the motions. But the fire that used to be there, it has burned low, and you can feel the difference. Jesus once said to the church of Ephesus, it had grown cold. He said, "You've left your first love." Then he pointed them back home. Go back, he told them, and do the first things, the things you love, the things you did at the start. James put the promise just as plainly: draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. That was the whole road Christmas Evans walked that day. He drew near, and God drew near, and the fire came back. Years later, as he lay dying, he waved his hand and said, "Goodbye, drive on." He was still traveling that mountain road, only now it was carrying him home. You don't have to climb a mountain in Wales. You can draw near to God right where you are. And that, friend, is how God lifts up your day.